Hello and welcome. My name is Marco, and in this video, I'm going to walk you guys through a training on how to run a proper info product business, agency, whatever you want to call it. If you have no experience in the info space, or if you don't even know what an info product is, don't worry. I'm going to explain everything and walk you guys through exactly how to maneuver in this space and what you need to do to actually make money off of it. And if you already are in info, then this is going to set you up perfectly to make those 20, 30K months pretty much as soon as possible. So with that being said, let's just jump right in. I'm going to have actionable steps along the way and at the end as well. So you guys can take concrete, actionable things to do out of this training to set you up properly and running. Because at the end of the day, we're not making money just because people hand us money, but because we do the right actions that will eventually make us money down the road. So, like I said, let's jump right in. My main thing before we even start talking about anything, I want you to realize one very important and specific thing. And I've kind of made it up in a quote right here. But when you realize the highest paid people online are just packaging knowledge, the whole game kind of shifts. Okay. And what I want you to realize is essentially within this quote, everybody that's actually making serious money online, they usually just package information in some sort of package, in some sort of box, in some sort of different way, and just give out information to others that lack that information in the first place. That's what's actually making them money. So, to kind of walk you guys through a little bit of an overview of what we're kind of going to be going over in this video, essentially just an introduction to what this business model is, why actually work with an info product, why this is kind of the future, why it works, and what even it is, right? Then I also want to talk about four advantages no one really talks about when it comes to info. I see a lot of people in the info space just kind of overlook this and they forget the main principles of why even doing an info business to begin with, or like a coaching business, whatever you want to call it. And then we're also going to be talking about what actually makes people pay you, right? Because you see a lot of these info products make a lot of money. And the reason why is because we're all running a high ticket info offer, which is essentially a high ticket price point in into like a packaged information. So this means that people are paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a package of information essentially. So why do people even do that? And would you actually do that yourself, right? So we're going to talk about a little bit about that and also what makes people pay 3K. But then we will look at how we can actually structure our own program to sell at a high ticket price point, right? Now, obviously, once we have all these things, we also need to acquire the right customers, traffic, sales, and stuff like that. And then just end off with some actionable steps as well so you guys can actually move the needle moving forward. So, like I said, let's just jump right in. I'm not a big guy on intros, so I kind of just want to walk you guys through this. First thing first is why this model works better than most online businesses nowadays. And you've probably been there yourself because trust me, if there's anybody that's tried a bunch of business models, it's me. So here's the thing. Why does this business model work? Well, first of all, most people have probably already gone through the cycle of failed attempts like me, right? You've probably tried dropshipping, SMMA, crypto, FBA, TikTok shop, whatever SaaS, whatever fucking business model is popular nowadays, right? But you kind of end up in the same loop, right? It's all this flashy thing, trading, do this, make money quick online, da 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 da. But it's actually super frustrating in reality. And that's why I really love the info space, is because it's not really like it's kind of flashy, like pretty much every business model, but it's not really that hard to grasp, to understand, and to really get your hands on. Like the hardest part about info is actually just putting in the work. So if you can put the work in, you're already ahead of 90% of the guys. Then it's just about implementing the right systems and you should pretty much be good to go. Now, what usually ends up happening with all these other business models is you end up with like super low margins if you're doing drop shipping, branded drop shipping, whatever. You barely have any margins. You pretty much depend on all these suppliers. You depend on fucking different systems, Shopify and stuff like that. And usually you have to have some sort of upfront capital, some sort of investment upfront for you to even be able to make money. That's so interesting in 2025 because all the lucrative business opportunities out there are kind of results based. So why would you need an upfront investment of like five, $10,000 when what you're doing should be based on results? So if you can actually bring good results, you are going to get paid in proportions to the results you bring, right? So that's kind of why I feel like I want to go away from these other business models and actually dive deep into info. And the cool thing about this and the info space as a whole is like you see a lot of people that are teaching drop shipping, affiliate marketing, Amazon FBA. They're all teaching these business models, but what they're doing is actually teaching them, which is an info product. So they're all pivoting away from the business model that they're teaching and into the info product business anyway. So it's like you're going away from what you're actually teaching and doing info because it's way more lucrative and it has all of these good factors compared to the bad factors with the original business model that they're actually teaching, right? And usually like the skill sets take so long to learn. So it's like you're going to take years before you, or not even, not really years, but like it's going to take a long time until you actually get profitable, consistent, whatever. When with info, you already kind of have the skills to begin with. So let's just kind of walk through this, right? As an info business is kind of different because you're building around something you already have, right? Which was kind of what I was talking about. You already have experience inside and some sort of unique way of solving a problem. You just kind of have to unlock it and apply the proper system on how to teach this to others. So what people actually pay for is you solving a problem, right? So when you kind of just package this correctly, the knowledge can sell over and over again. That's the super cool thing about info, right? It's not just like I guess a result you have to bring, but you just kind of have this package, you know how it's packaged, you know how to teach it, and then it's just doing it to the other person, to the next, and to the next, right? So you don't really need any crazy inventory like you do if you're drop shipping, and you don't need any big ass team or even a huge following and anything like that, right? Uh, you're no longer working harder to make less, right? So you're making more from what you already know, which is like the key to info. Like you can literally teach somebody something you already know and make way more money out of it than trying to learn something new and make money off of that, which kind of breaks down info as a whole. So what actually is an info product? I'll break it down for you guys very clearly. First of all, I don't want this to be info is just selling a course. It's not selling a course, right? It's actually all about a proper packaged solution, right? So it's a packaged solution to a specific problem someone is actively trying to solve. Money and making money is all about problem solving. So that solution can actually take in form of it. You can either like do like a short training, live coaching, mini course, one-on-one offer, group offer. It doesn't really matter, right? What matters is actually the transformation, not the format, okay? And that's what I want you guys to take away with info. You see a lot of people sell these courses and they talked about info as another course. These are just glorified course sellers and whatnot. And to some extent, but it's not really about the course. What it is about is the transformation and the results you bring. So the key is you're not just selling content or another course. What you're selling is clarity, right? You want clarity on getting from point A to point B. So you're selling speed, you're selling confidence, you're selling the ability to skip the trial and error phase. People don't want to go through that themselves. They'd rather just pay somebody who's already done it and then just get their way faster. I've had thousands of sales calls where people have told me that exact thing, right? Oh, I don't want to fucking do all this trial and error. Like, I'd rather just pay somebody 3K when I know I'm going to make that money back anyway because I'm just going to learn everything so much faster, right? That's kind of the thing all about it, it's speed. So to set you up with a foundation, I've kind of laid this out for you guys. Ask yourself, I help. Excuse me. Ask yourself, I help. Who do you help? Right? put that who in there. So I help new. Who do you help? You put in I help somebody go from insert the problem to insert the desired result without thing they hate, right? So just put that in. You can fill it in very easily with whatever niche, whatever thing you want to do, and just ask yourself that you have a foundation. You know kind of how to outline an info product if you can actually fill this sentence in for yourself, right? An example can be I help dads go from 80 pounds to 60 pounds without having to track calories. As an example, obviously 80 to 60 pounds is fucking crazy. That's like, I meant kg, whatever, right? Like it's just an example. I'm not really that good with pounds. I'm kind of in Europe right now, so kg has always been my thing. But regardless, you guys get it. I help dads go from 200 pounds to 180 pounds without having to track calories, right? So something like that. Just try to be specific, nail it down for yourself, and you already have a foundation in place. Now, I want to also talk about why info works because we talked a little bit about this right here, where other business models have all these problems. Why info works on the other flip side of things is because it has good profit margins, right? Like when you're doing an info product, you don't really need any upfront investment. It has such high profit it has such high profit margins, it's actually crazy. I know when I first started my info business in a completely different, like I've done this in three different niches. So if there's anybody that knows what they're talking about, it's me. I've done it for myself, three different niches, and I've fucking scaled your favorite influencers to 6 and 7 figures. So get the fuck on my level. Anyway, that's just some quick bragging. What I wanted to say is like when I first started my info business, the crazy part about it is I remember I had no expenses other than payment processing fees. Okay. And payment processing fees only come when you actually get a sale because I use WAP and WAP is free to use. But when people pay you, WAP takes like 5% or whatever it is. And that's getting paid to WAP directly. So if somebody pays you $100, they take $5 and you're left with 95. So you never pay anything until you actually get a sale, which is pretty crazy. So that's like basically almost 95% profit, right? Now, this kind of varies on where you're at in your journey, how you want to do things, but usually like 70 to 90% profit after delivery. So you're not spending a bunch of money on shipping, on software, on all this BS, right? And also you already have what you need, which is so fucking crazy to me because usually you have to learn a crazy new skill, you have to learn a bunch of new things. But with info, you basically know pretty much 80% of everything. All you have to do is just leverage it properly. That's kind of what you have to learn. So you've helped, even if you've even helped like one person, right, solve something specific, you're already more qualified than most people, right? So ingrain this in your head. I see a lot of people just like forget to talk about this, but that's pretty cool. Third thing is also you don't need a big team, no complicated tech, anything like that. Like many successful business owners in info are strictly running off a fucking computer, a funnel, some content, and just like sales calls. That's basically all they're doing. And it really compounds as well because you get one person in, you get them the result, that brings you a testimonial, then you use that testimonial for more content and more proof. So you're just kind of going this circle and you repeat, right? So here's the cool thing: the creator economy, quote unquote, is kind of shifting, right? Because people don't want to buy from just random people. People want to buy from people they can trust, people that have done the thing they say, and ideally, I would say people want to buy from people that are just like kind of a few steps ahead. Because you see this kind of shifting nowadays with all these big, what you want to call it, economy influencers like Iman Ghazi and all these guys, right? They're like so big that they're kind of way further ahead than the person that's watching them. So the cool thing about this is like if you're just a few steps ahead, you're way more relatable. You're like, dude, I fucking was broke 6 months ago and now I've finally cracked the code on how I made my first 10, 20, 30K a month, or not my first, but like my first 6 months consistent. Like, I'm just like you, bro. I'm just a few steps ahead. Like we're literally the same. Why the fuck are you still stuck here? Let me help you out, right? That's almost like more attractive to somebody now than having Iman Ghazi that has fucking all this money and makes over 10, 20, 30 mil, right? Like that's not as attractive anymore because it's way farther ahead. While you have people that are just like a few steps ahead being more attractive and being like, oh, I actually want this because he's just like me. He's not super rich. He can, I can do the same exact thing. I'm literally in his position 6 months ago. So that's something that you can use to your advantage, right? So included with this sentence right here, I want you to ask yourself as well, if I had to charge 3K to teach this, what would I include? Right? Ask yourself this. It's going to give you, again, a foundation to a proper product. I'm going to walk you guys through what actually makes a winning product, but or like a winning offer. But you give yourself some outlines, some foundations, because it's going to make your life 10 times easier. So here's the thing. Now that you kind of understand this, it's time to actually realize how we can make this into a winning offer and how to leverage this properly. So, what makes people pay 3K or above, whatever, right? Here's the thing. You don't need a massive following. You don't need a big personal brand. You don't need any of that because, trust me, I know. Like I said, I've done this in three different niches. In a niche where I have a huge, or not a huge, but like where I have like 15,000 subscribers in a completely different niche. And I've done it on stuff like this where I barely have fucking 10 subscribers, right? Like I know how to do this without even really getting a lot of views or any followers or anything. So what you need is a valuable transformation that solves a painful problem, right? So here's what every high ticket info offer must have, essentially, like quote unquote must, right? You need a clear transformation, so you need a proper before and after. That's very important because the client needs to know exactly what they're getting out of this offer, right? Then you need a defined audience because we don't want to be selling to everyone. I can't emphasize this enough. I'm gonna play this back, do the fucking rewind thing, but here's the thing: you don't want to be selling to everybody. Trust me, because you're ruining the targeted audience. You want to find your ideal, like we talked about it over here. I help dads 50, 40 plus, 50 plus, whoever, right? You want to try to be specific because if you help dads, you don't want to be helping teenagers that are fucking 18, 20, right? They're not going to fit your offer anyway. So you're just ruining your marketing, you're ruining your brand, you're ruining your authenticity, authority, and trust. So find your target audience, be specific about the situation and also about the solution. A simple path, right? So your method or framework should be easy to understand, even if it's not easy to do, which means the people that are watching you, the people that see your offer, should have a good and easy understanding of what the offer is and how it works. Then a good winning offer should have credibility. Now, if you're just starting out, credibility is going to be hard, right? So you have to leverage other things like the things we talked about above. But credibility, you can always find credibility in some sort of way. You just have to be creative, whether it's doing things for free, whether it's helping somebody else, whether however you help people, right? Just be creative around it, which is just going to boost your trust overall. So once you get testimonials and stuff like that, it's going to be way easier to have credibility, but that's just an overall offer thing. A good winning offer should have credibility no matter what. When it comes to access, that's also very key, especially nowadays with all these courses being sold and all these things, right? Having access to you is one of the best possible things. And that's also why you can actually charge a premium, because you're not just selling content, a course, and stuff like that, but you're actually giving access to yourself and the knowledge you have in real time. So people pay for this proximity, right? You want to help, not just your videos, not just this. You want to be there, hold people accountable, and actually help them along the way. So when you give access, it's just going to boost your offer overall. So your job isn't really to overwhelm people with all this info you're giving, but it's actually about giving them the confidence that what you do in your process is actually going to get them to their desired state. So how do you build this program or this info product or whatever? There's a couple different delivery methods and ways to deliver this info product, but I'll put it very simply for you, right? You can kind of choose, pick and choose. I'm going to give you the options and I'm going to tell you what to do just because that's how I am, right? So let me drop some sauce for you, right? So you have a simple way to deliver one-on-one coaching, right? Just like actually be there. This is like so good when you're just starting out because you don't need to build a course, you don't need to do all this shit. Just like just like be there for them, right? But it can kind of feel a little bit, I guess, small. Like why should somebody get coached from you, right? So you have different ways of doing it. You have one-on-one, you have group, you have a hybrid, which is kind of what I recommend, where you package a lot of info in one package, and that's really what kind of sets you apart. So I'm going to teach you this, right? You have the hybrid, you have self-paced, just a course, whatever. Here's what I recommend. You want to launch with a one-on-one or group or both, right? To validate your system, then uh, you kind of, I guess, what the fuck, productize. What I mean is validate your system and then you kind of produce, right? So weekly calls is essential. Slack or Discord groups is also essential. Check-ins, either email, Slack, Discord, whatever. Feedback, you can use Loom if you don't want to do them live, right? Etc. Etc. Like these are just kind of essential things you low-key need to have, right? But I don't want you to overcomplicate things because people need the clarity and accountability. They don't need all these fancy things, right? So essentially just keep in mind that you have to focus on the transformation. And as long as you do everything that is going to get them to a transformation, you kind of have things in place, right? Because for a transformation to happen, new habits or new ways of doing things need to be there, which means that they're not going to be used to what they're doing. So you have to be there to check up, have groups, check-ins, etc. Right now, you have optional stuff like bonus trainings, community templates, whatever. These are all cool, which can kind of take you a long way and also adds more perceived value to the offer. But what I want to recommend and what I want to give you and what I want you to take out of this video is for you to pretty much ensure results or for you to guarantee results or for you to basically make the results, because results are always up to the client. Like you can give as much value as humanly possible, but if they don't do anything, they're never going to get there, right? It's just like somebody trying to lose weight. You can give them all the knowledge and all the actions and everything they need to do, but if they never step on the treadmill or put the fork down, they're not going to lose the weight, right? So you can never like 100% guarantee success, but what you can is ensure the highest possible success rate. So to do this, what I recommend is you obviously do something hybrid where you have pre-recorded, you have weekly calls, you have coaching calls, you have one-on-one, you have access, you have everything. And then you also include something that is unique about your offer, where you use your so-called unfair advantage, something you're good at, something you can do for your clients that are going to pretty much ensure results, right? So whatever you're good at, use it to boost your offer like others would never be able to do, right? Set yourself apart. Examples can be a done for you solution. Let's say you are doing some teaching people how to let's just keep it simple, right? Let's just say you teach people how to do the fucking drop shipping course, whatever, right? If you teach people how to create a store and all this in the library and all this, but you also add a done for you solution where you actually make the store for them. You go out of your way to make sure you make the store for them, So this way they have the best possible store, which gives them a higher likelihood of actually achieving the results. Do something like this, something that sets you apart. I can give you a great example myself as well. I'm very good at sales. I've been a closer, collected over millions of cash collected over different offers. And when I'm very good at sales, so I know what a good sales call looks like, how to have a good sales call, so I can teach people inside of my offer, not just how to create a high ticket info product, but also how to close clients over meetings because that's what I've done it thousands of times, right? So this is something that will increase the likelihood of them having better results. Just simple things like this where you go out of your way to ensure results. Next thing is also going to be acquiring customers, right? Where do you actually get your traffic from and where do the sales come from? Well, they obviously come from customers, right? But let's be real, if we're not willing to talk about what you do, you're never going to make money off of it. You're never going to have customers coming in. So you don't need any paid ads. You don't need complex automations. All you need is just a simple high signal content and conversations. So this is kind of what I recommend in my current system. You want to start posting content on Instagram and YouTube. Those are the two main platforms you want to post on. Yes, it's 2025. If you're fucking still consuming and not creating, then you're falling behind. It's just as simple as that. Every successful business, even local, even big, whatever, they all use social media to some sort of extent. So you want to make sure you start posting content. It's just the name of the game. Sorry, it is what it is, right? So start doing that. You want to invite people to DM you on Instagram, click to apply, link in the description, whatever it might be. Conversations are the most important thing. That's where the sales are made, okay? Nobody's gonna just pay you just because they pay you. They're gonna pay you through conversation. So take them to a call, close them in the DMs, most likely take them to close them into a call, get them on a call. That's the most important thing. And then you close the deal on the call based on what they need, right? So this is pretty much like a relationship-based business model. So you need good relationships with your clients, good relationships with your audience and your viewers and whatever. No, you don't need a big following. Like I said, I've done this with barely 10 subscribers, barely 50 followers. Like you can still make money even if you don't have a following. If you just fucking post a reel today, you're gonna guaranteed get like 200 views per reel. That's more than enough. Don't worry about the views and whatnot. Don't need a million views. You need the right 10 people. That's all you need, bro. Because if you close 3 deals a month at 3K, that's basically 10K a month right there off the 3 deals closed. So all you need is the right people. You want to talk about the right thing, solve the proper solution, and you're pretty much good to go. The online space is loud. What cuts through the noise is the clarity, the proof, and the authenticity. Okay, so you need to start posting about what you help people with, share examples, results. You can also document the journey as you're building your offer, turn content into conversations. Then you turn those conversations into, you guessed it, clients. Conversations are the real funnel. I'm fucking tired of all this. Oh, this is the funnel breakdown. This is this. Fuck all that shit. They all end up getting on a sales call, and on the sales call, that's where they're fucking closed. And they're closed because you have a conversation with them. So however you can get them on a call, that's your way to make money. Remember that. Cool. So now that you know this, it's time to do some actionable steps. What can you do today to actually start building this whole business, this whole thing? It doesn't take years. It takes barely a week. And once you're up and running, as long as you're doing it correctly, within a couple of months, you should be making money. So here's the thing. Choose a niche, an outcome. Start writing down your clients before and after, like the transformation you want to achieve and help them get. Then you want to map out 3 to 5 steps you'd walk them through. Okay, this is all just to kind of build that foundation in. Then, once you have all that laid down, you pick a delivery method. Once you've kind of picked the one-on-one, whatever is fine, you want to start opening up either Notion, whatever thing you want to do, and just outline the whole structure of the offer that you have. Right? Whatever, like the whole process of getting somebody from point A to point B. Like number five is really gonna should take some time, right? So once you kind of have the whole outline, once you have the offer in place, start posting one piece of content every single day about whatever results you bring, whatever you do. Just talk about one specific thing because you're going to gain one specific audience and you're going to offer that audience one specific offer. Really that simple, right? Once you've done that, you want to start up conversations. Start up 3 conversations at least just to fucking start them. And then you fucking just scale and grow and conversate from there. Really just like once you're starting to post content, conversation, talk to everybody, talk to people that like, talk to people that follow, just start talking. Fucking just talk in the DMs, wherever, just talk to people, okay? Once you're talking, you don't even need a lot of followers. You don't, all you need is like give them the clarity, right? Give them the consistency, give them the confidence in what you're talking about is actually true. And I want to end it off with this. You don't need the permission, all you need is to actually publish. That's the whole business model, right? It's really that simple, but all you need to do is take the actionable steps because they're not hard at all. They just need to be done. Take care.